Welcome to Mindblow, the ultimate destination for jaw-dropping content that will surprise, inspire, and entertain you every step of the way. If you love discovering the unexpected, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and share with your friends to keep the excitement going. Your support helps us keep blowing minds and creating content you'll never forget. So buckle up and get ready, because this is just the beginning. The Philippines, an archipelago of more than 7,000 islands, sits at the heart of Southeast Asia, a breathtaking landscape of turquoise waters, lush mountains, and vibrant cities. But beyond its natural beauty, the Philippines has become the center of a global power struggle caught between the ambitions of the United States and China. This rivalry isn't just about high-level politics or diplomatic posturing. It reaches into the daily lives of over 115 million Filipinos, shaping everything from international trade and military security to the price of goods and the safety of their communities. For the United States, the Philippines is more than just a friend. It's a crucial ally and a forward military outpost, a place to project power and maintain influence in the Indo-Pacific. For China, the Philippines is a neighbor whose location is vital for controlling the South China Sea, expanding its maritime reach, and pushing back against American presence in the region. The country's unique position makes it a strategic prize, a gateway between the Pacific Ocean and the South China Sea. It sits at the crossroads of some of the world's busiest sea lanes, where more than a third of global shipping passes each year, connecting East Asia to the rest of the world. Whoever holds sway here can influence the flow of trillions of dollars in trade, affecting economies far beyond Asia. Military control in these waters means a decisive edge in a region where tensions can flare at any moment, and where the balance of power is always shifting. As China's influence grows, the Philippines has transformed from a regional player into a central piece in the contest for global leadership, its choices watched by the world. No longer just a bystander, the Philippines is now a key piece on the geopolitical chessboard, its moves shaping the future of the region. Every diplomatic visit, every military exercise, every investment deal is a calculated move, part of a larger strategy by both superpowers to tip the balance in their favor. In this high-stakes game, the Philippines is both a player and a prize, its fate intertwined with the ambitions of giants. The outcome of this contest, and perhaps the future of the global order itself, may well be decided in the waters and islands surrounding the Philippines. Geography is destiny for the Philippines, a nation of more than 7,000 islands scattered across the heart of Southeast Asia. Its unique position has shaped its history, its culture, and now, its role in a rapidly changing world. The Philippines forms a vital part of the so-called First Island Chain, a string of landmasses stretching from Japan through Taiwan and the Philippines down to Borneo. This chain acts as a natural barrier, separating China from the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean. For the United States and its allies, this island chain is more than just geography. It's a defensive frontier, a first line of containment against potential adversaries. For China, however, the First Island Chain is seen as a cage, a series of obstacles that restrict its navy's access to the open Pacific and limit its strategic ambitions. Breaking through this barrier is a top priority for Beijing. If China could secure unimpeded access, it would dramatically shift the regional balance of power, giving it greater influence over trade routes and military operations. At the very center of this contest sits the Philippines, a true linchpin. Its location makes it a strategic prize, coveted by both sides. The cooperation of the Philippines is crucial for both the US and China. Its alliances, decisions, and even its neutrality can tip the scales in this high-stakes game. The Luzon Strait, a narrow body of water between Taiwan and the Philippines, is a strategic gateway for China's navy, one of the few passages wide and deep enough for large warships to enter the Pacific. But it's not just a military corridor. The Luzon Strait is also a choke point for global shipping, with countless cargo vessels passing through its waters every day. U.S. access to bases in northern Philippines gives Washington a front-row seat to this vital passage, allowing it to monitor and, if necessary, respond to any movement in the region. Meanwhile, the Philippines' western coast borders the South China Sea, a maritime superhighway where nearly a third of global trade flows, making it one of the world's most important waterways. Any disruption here, whether from conflict or blockade, would send shockwaves through the global economy, affecting everything from energy supplies to consumer goods. The country's proximity to these critical sea arteries makes it indispensable for any power seeking to ensure freedom of navigation and the uninterrupted flow of commerce. In the end, the Philippines' geography is both its greatest asset and its biggest vulnerability. A string of pearls in a sea of conflict, whose fate may shape the future of the entire region. China's interest in the Philippines is driven by economic needs, nationalism, and strategy. At the heart is the Nine-Dash Line, a sweeping claim over the South China Sea that clashes with the Philippines' own maritime rights. China has built artificial islands, turning reefs into military outposts to project power and squeeze out other claimants. Economically, China offers loans and investments through its Belt and Road Initiative, aiming to create dependency and political leverage. The goal: pull the Philippines into China's orbit and push out U.S. influence. If China succeeds, it sends a message to Southeast Asia: resistance is futile. The Philippines is a critical test case for China's ambitions. The pressure on Manila is immense as it stands on the front line of Beijing's regional project. The U.S.-Philippines relationship is rooted in a century of shared history, marked by cooperation, conflict, and transformation. From the early 20th century, when the Philippines was an American colony, to its independence and beyond, the two nations have been closely intertwined. Over decades, their partnership has weathered wars, political changes, and shifting global dynamics, forging a bond that remains resilient today. This enduring connection was formalized by the 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty, a landmark agreement that committed both countries to stand together in the face of external threats. The alliance serves as a vital security guarantee for Manila, reassuring the Philippines that it is not alone in defending its sovereignty and territorial integrity. It also provides a legal and strategic foundation for America's military presence in Asia, allowing U.S. forces to operate from key locations in the region. In recent years, this partnership has only grown stronger, with a renewed U.S. commitment to regional stability and Philippine security. Expanded access to Philippine bases under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement has deepened military cooperation, enabling joint training, rapid deployment, and disaster response. These strategically located sites, especially in the north and west of the archipelago, are crucial for projecting power and responding to regional crises. They give the U.S. rapid response capability near flashpoints like Taiwan and the contested South China Sea, where tensions with China continue to rise. The U.S. strategy is to maintain the status quo, uphold international law, and deter Chinese aggression. Freedom of navigation operations demonstrate America's commitment to open seas and the rules-based order. Joint exercises like Balikatan send a clear signal of American resolve and solidarity. Beyond military cooperation, the U.S. also champions democracy, human rights, and transparent investment, offering a stark contrast to China's more authoritarian and opaque model. While the U.S. cannot match China's sheer economic scale or trade volume in Asia, it remains a major investor, a trusted partner, and a source of high-quality, sustainable development. America presents itself as a reliable ally in times of crisis, providing humanitarian aid, disaster relief, and support for community rebuilding. The U.S. emphasizes shared values, mutual respect, and long-term partnership over purely transactional deals. For the Philippines, this alliance is both a protective shield against external threats and a source of diplomatic leverage, strengthening its position on the world stage and ensuring its voice is heard in regional affairs. The South China Sea is where the U.S.-China rivalry turns dangerously real for the Philippines. At Second Thomas Shoal, Filipino Marines hold out on a rusting ship, symbolizing sovereignty under constant Chinese harassment. China's Coast Guard and militia routinely block and intimidate Philippine supply boats, escalating tensions. The U.S. has pledged that attacks on Philippine vessels could trigger the Mutual Defense Treaty. Scarborough Shoal, once a Filipino fishing ground, is now under Chinese control, devastating local livelihoods. The 2016 Hague ruling invalidated China's claims, but Beijing ignores it, relying on naval power over legal arguments. The Philippines has law on its side, but China has force, forcing Manila to lean on its U.S. alliance. The gap between international law and reality is stark in these contested waters. For the Philippines, the U.S.-China rivalry is as much about economics as security. China is the top trading partner, but also uses trade as leverage, restricting imports like bananas when tensions rise. This economic dependence is risky for Manila. The US and partners like Japan and the EU offer alternative investments, especially in sectors like business process outsourcing. Infrastructure is another battleground. China's Belt and Road promises quick financing, but concerns about debt and transparency linger. The US and G7 have responded with their own infrastructure initiatives, offering more transparent, sustainable options. This competition gives the Philippines more choices and bargaining power. Manila can now negotiate better terms and avoid over-reliance on any single partner. The challenge is to attract quality investment without sacrificing sovereignty. Navigating this economic tightrope is central to the country's future. The superpower rivalry has real consequences for ordinary Filipinos, especially fishermen facing Chinese intimidation in traditional waters. Their livelihoods and food security are under threat, fueling national frustration and anti-China sentiment. The government must balance public pressure for a strong stance with the risk of direct conflict. Nearly 2 million Filipinos work in China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. Their safety is at stake if tensions escalate. New military sites bring both economic benefits and local concerns about disruption and security. Filipinos are not just spectators, they're on the front lines, living with the daily impact of this great power contest. The nation's choices will shape its destiny. Under intense pressure from both Washington and Beijing, the Philippines has adopted a nimble, balancing strategy. President Marcos Jr. has tilted back toward the US, defending maritime rights and exposing Chinese aggression to the world. Manila is strengthening alliances with the US, Japan, Australia, and Europe, joining joint patrols and exploring new security pacts. The logic: the Philippines can't stand up to China alone, but a coalition can deter aggression. Yet Manila hasn't abandoned China. Diplomatic dialogue and economic cooperation continue where possible. The challenge is to compartmentalize. Cooperate economically, push back on security. This hedging strategy maximizes autonomy and keeps options open. It requires diplomatic skill and a clear focus on national interest. The Philippines is determined to chart its own course amid superpower rivalry. The US-China contest in the Philippines is just beginning, with the region's future hanging in the balance. A single misstep could spark conflict, threatening global stability and the international order. The Philippines' ability to balance, build coalitions, and defend its interests will be a test of leadership and resilience. The world is watching. How Manila navigates this struggle will set a precedent for other nations facing similar pressures. If sovereignty is eroded by force, the consequences will echo far beyond Southeast Asia. The fate of the Philippines is about more than trade or military bases. It's about the kind of world we want to live in. The story is being written now, in the waters of the South China Sea.